Welcome to Principles of Management. This lecture is looking at Chapter 6, Organizational Strategy. The learning outcomes include explain the steps for creating a sustainable competitive advantage and why having such an advantage is so important. Describe the steps involved in the strategy making process. Explain the different kinds of corporate level strategies and when each should be used. Describe the different kinds of industry-level strategies and how they affect the competition, and explain the components and kinds of firm-level strategies and the ways in which firms attack competitors or respond to competitive attacks. Firms use their resources to improve organizational effectiveness and efficiency. Resources are critical to organizational strategy because they can help companies create and sustain an advantage over competitors. A competitive advantage becomes a sustainable competitive advantage when other companies cannot duplicate the value a firm provides a customer. Four conditions must be met if a firm's resources are to be used to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. The resources must be valuable. They allow the companies to improve their efficiency and effectiveness. The resources must be rare, not controlled or possessed by many competing firms. The resources must be imperfectly imitatable, impossible or extremely costly or difficult to duplicate. The resources must be non-substitutable. No other resource can replace them and produce similar value or competitive advantage. To create sustainable competitive advantage, a company must have a strategy. The first step in creating a strategy is determining the need for strategic change. There's a great deal of uncertainty in strategic business environments. Top-level managers are often slow to see the need for change. To avoid competitive inertia, managers should look for strategic dissonance. Competitive inertia is a reluctance to change strategies or competitive practices that have been successful in the past. Strategic dissonance is a discrepancy between a company's intended strategy and the strategic actions managers take when implementing that strategy. The second step in creating a strategy is conducting a situational analysis. A situational analysis is also called a SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is an assessment of the strengths and weaknesses in the organization's internal environment and the opportunities and threats in its external environment. Distinctive competence is what a company can make, do, or perform better than its competitors. Shadow Strategy Task Force is a committee within a company that analyzes the company's own weaknesses to determine how the competitors could exploit them for a competitive advantage. A company's distinctive competencies are sustained by superior core capabilities. Core capabilities are the internal decision-making routines, problem-solving processes, and the organizational cultures that determine how efficiently the inputs can be turned into outputs. Strategic groups contain core, secondary, and transient firms. Strategic groups is a group of competencies within an industry against which top managers compare and evaluate and benchmark strategic threats and opportunities. Core firms are the center companies in the strategic group. Secondary firms are the firms in a strategic group that follow strategies related to, but somewhat different from those of the core firms. The last step in creating a strategy is to choose strategic alternatives that will help the company create or maintain a sustainable competitive advantage. According to strategic reference point theory, managers choose between two basic alternative strategies. Strategic reinforcement points are the strategic targets managers use to measure whether a firm has developed a core competency it needs to achieve or a sustainable competitive advantage. The conservative risk-avoiding strategy aims to protect the existing competitive advantage. The aggressive seeking strategy aims to extend or create a sustainable competitive advantage. Corporate level strategy is the overall organizational strategy that addresses the question, what business or businesses are we in, or what should we be in? There are two major approaches to corporate level strategy that companies use to decide which business they should be in: the portfolio strategy and the grand strategies. One of the standard strategies for stock market investors is diversification, or owning stocks in a variety of companies in different industries. The purpose of this strategy is to reduce the risk in the overall stock portfolio. According to the portfolio strategy, the more business in which a corporation competes, the smaller its overall chance of failing. Portfolio strategy predicts that companies can reduce risk even more through unrelated diversification, creating and acquiring companies in completely unrelated businesses. Investing the profits and cash flow from mature, slow-growth businesses to newer, fast-growing businesses can reduce long-term risk. The best-known portfolio strategy for guiding an investment in a corporate's business is known as the Boston Consulting Group Matrix. The BCG Matrix is a portfolio strategy that managers use to categorize their corporation's businesses by growth rate and relative market share, which helps them decide how to invest corporate funds. The matrix separates businesses into four categories: stars, question marks, cash cows, and dogs, based on how fast the market is growing and the size of the business shares of that market. Portfolio strategy does have some drawbacks. Evidence suggests that acquiring unrelated businesses is not useful. Managers using the BCG matrix aren't very good at accurately determining which companies should be categorized as stars, cash cows, question marks, or dogs. The best portfolio strategy approach is related to diversity. A grand strategy is a broad strategic plan used to help an organization achieve its strategic goals. There are three kinds of grand strategies: growth, stability, retrenchment, or recovery. Companies can grow in several ways. They can grow externally by merging with or acquiring other companies in the same or different businesses. Another way to grow is internally, directly expanding the company's existing business or creating and growing new businesses. A stability strategy is useful when their external environment does not change much or after they have struggled with periods of explosive growth. The retrenchment strategy is intended to turn around very poor company performance. Step one is shrinking the size or scope of the business, or if the company is in multiple businesses, closing or shutting down different lines of the business. Step two is recovery, which consists of strategic actions that a company takes to return to a growth strategy. Industry level strategy addresses the questions: how should we compete in this industry? According to a Harvard professor, Michael Porter, 5 industry forces determine the industry's overall attractiveness and potential for long-term profitability: the character of the rivalry, the threat of new entrants, the threat of substitute products or services, the bargaining power of suppliers, and the bargaining power of buyers. The stronger these 5 forces, the less attractive the industry becomes to corporate investors, because it is more difficult for companies to be profitable. Threats of new entrants: a measure of the degree to which barriers to entry make it easy or difficult for new companies to get started in an industry. Threat of substitute products or services is a measure of the ease with which customers can find substitutes for an industry's product or services. Bargaining power of suppliers, a measurement of the influence that suppliers of parts, materials, and services to the firm in an industry have on prices of these inputs. And bargaining power of the buyers is measuring the influence that the customers have on the firm's prices. After analyzing industry forces, the next step in the industry-level strategy is to protect one's company from negative effects of the industry-wide competition and to create a sustainable competitive advantage. According to Michael Porter, there are three positioning strategies. Cost leader, which is producing a product or service of acceptable quality at consistently lower production costs than competitors can, so that the firm can offer the product or service at the lowest price in the industry. Differentiation, providing a product or service that is sufficiently different from the competitors, offering that the customers are willing to pay a premium price for it. And focus, using the cost leadership or differentiation to produce a specialized product or service for a limited or special targeted group of customers in a particular geographic region or market segment. The purpose of adaptive strategies is to choose an industry-level strategy that is best suited to changes in the organization's external environment. There are four kinds of adaptive strategies. The first one is defenders. They seek moderate, steady growth by offering a limited range of products and services to a well-defined set of customers. Next, you have the prospectors. They seek fast growth by searching for new market opportunities, encouraging risk-taking, and being the first to bring innovative new products to the market. The analyzers are a blend of the defenders and the prospectors' strategies. They seek moderate, steady growth and limited opportunities for fast growth. And last, the reactors do not follow a consistent strategy. Reactors tend to react to change in their external environments after they occur. Firm-level strategy addresses the question, how should we compete against a particular firm? Instead of competing with the entire industry, most firms compete directly with just a few companies within it. Two factors determine the extent in which firms will be direct competition with each other. First, the market commonality states that the more markets in which there is product, service, or customer overlap, the more intense the direct competition between the two companies. Resource similarity is the extent to which a competitor has similar amounts and kinds of resources, that is, similar assets, capabilities, processes, information, and knowledge used to create and sustain an advantage over the competitors. Firm-level strategies help managers determine when, where, and what strategic actions should be taken against direct competitors. Firms in direct competition can make two basic strategic moves. First, an attack is a competitive move designed to reduce a rival's market share or profit, or a response, which is the counter move. It's prompted by a rival's attack that is designed to defend or improve the company's market share or profit. There are two types of responses. First, match or mirror your competitor's move, or second, respond along a different dimension from your competitor's move or attack. When firms are direct competitors in large numbers of market, they have a great deal at stake. In general, the more moves or attacks a company initiates against a direct competitor, and the greater a company's tendencies to respond when attacked, the better it performs. Once again, thank you for taking the time to listen to this lecture. If you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.